I'm just like, we're out, and I'm taking you away from your families, and I'm taking you away from your lives. Like, let's work. And it's really nice because now, because we have this kind of revolving door, and what I mean by that is we have kind of like a first and second and third call thing, and it's not about ability at all. What it's about is who has the time, who has the drive, who's the communicating that they really want to do it. Some people have great jobs, and there's only 2 people with kids in the band, and myself and Jacob. So I feel
you and almost the 2 that can't be replaced.
No, absolutely. And so the rule that Jacob and I kind of came up with is it's got to be worthwhile.
Right.
It really has to be worthwhile, and that means, unfortunately, saying no to sometimes what might be a cool opportunity because, we got to pay these guys.
Right.
And even myself owning our label. If you're on a normal record label, how it works is that, they pay for everything to make it come out, etc. And then you go on the road and start recouping it. Right. And you don't really get paid until after. Right. But we don't work it that way. I still pay the guys and we recoup slower. And that is the beauty of doing it our way.
Right.
So I don't have to be a jerk to the guys and be like, hey, guess what? March and April are not paid.
Right.
I don't have to say that, which is handy.
Right. It's interesting to me because, like, you come from this stuff at a perspective that's different than anybody else than we've had on the show, because you're simultaneously, by desire or otherwise, you're simultaneously the artist, the musician, but you're also the business guy. Yeah. And they're different hats.
They're different hats, and I'll tell you that I'm much more the business guy than the artist.
Really?
Much more. Much more. And I will tell you that there's oftentimes on the road, I almost forget that I have to play. Because I have so much going on that, our percussionist, Cooper, he can do sound check for me, he can set it all up, and I'm dealing with paperwork and booking other shows and sync licensing and all these other things that I'm slammed. And then sometimes someone will just, like, because I wear a basketball jersey when we play, someone will just throw me my jersey and be like, it's 15 minutes. I'm like, oh yeah, right, there's people to play for. And then it's that time in the show where there's the time of the day where my brain turns off. Thank God. I need it for a few minutes. Like even this, like doing things like this for an hour or so. I did an interview the other day and it was about an hour and a half long. And at the end of it, I said, how comes the terrible part where I look at my phone.
Right.
Because I know that people are getting back to us and we're in the process of putting on a new record.
Right.
So because of that, it's just like, I'm glad that the rest of the band doesn't really know. I'm really glad that they don't really understand how much is going into it, because I don't know what goes into it. I've got a bunch of forget your lazy band members. Talk about, and I'm being facetious. Okay. Forget your band members. There's a bunch of kids at home, hopefully, that are watching this that say, I want to do this. So what is it they got to look out for? So imagine, like, we put together a record, like, and so the songs are written, and we have, because the studio is exceptionally expensive, because we want to go to a top-end studio. We can't do a smaller studio because it just doesn't work with the amount of people we have. Right. So we wanted to really top ourselves. So we went to Jacasa Studio. They did like July Talk and Alexis on Fire and all these records that we love. Right. And we wanted those same engineers. So we got those guys. But so I have to schedule 25 musicians played on this record, and from Darren from the Salads, who I loved growing up, was on it, and we had a string section, we had like some choral vocals, etc. So I am basically running people through day by day, and if something goes wrong, like at the beginning is my first day, where the rhythm section is, and luckily the rhythm section banged out. Chris from Pindles, he plays with us as well, and like those guys were amazing.
Ran into almost all of them last night. They didn't even know we were in town.
I guarantee that.
By random coincidence, they shared the video that we did with them last night, and then we ran into them at Mate.
Yeah, no doubt.
Sorry. Anyway, so
no, I know. And I was gonna say that's funny. You went to Mate. You could probably just set up a camera there and catch 10 interviews with local acts.
Absolutely. Shout out to Mate here in St. Catharines, by the way. If you're in town, go down there on a Thursday night for their open jam and submission.
Yeah. St. Paul, it's great. Yeah. So yeah, so you get that together, and then you record it, and then you edit it, and then you mix it, and then it goes away for mastering.
Right.
So you have all those first 4 steps, but that's usually where people start to forget what happens. Usually, in my opinion, they skip a whole bunch of steps, and then they get it back, they put it online, and that's that. For us, we do the whole artwork, we get it duplicated, which means we produce CDs, we produce vinyl. All that stuff needs to go away. There has to be all sorts of art in templates. It's a big pain. And then there's publicity. We use Danno's in-house Listen Harder publicity, and they have like Alice in Chains and Perfect Circle. Like they have huge acts. So we're getting them all the assets they need. Plus, anyone who books tours books them. Headliners are booked from October to January. So I am in the fucking jungle right now of like, you know, we've got a bunch of festivals, and a lot of them I can't even mention yet because they're not out. Plus there's a series of meetings. Plus for my agent work, I go to like Folk Alliance and Breakout West and things like that, where I am going and pitching my other artists and just meeting fests and meeting people on behalf of Hurricane and just talking about what we do and talking about what they do.
It excites me.